present 292. 92.
Yeah, tell him.
Bitch.
92, bitch.
Bro, present show 92, bitch.
Let's give the people a little information about yourself and so they know who they're dealing with, what they're listening to.
Sure.
So kinda, man, we're not gonna tell the whole story at once. We're gonna kinda start at the beginning, man. Where are you originally from? To start.
I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, like the East Baltimore area, Dundalk.
Okay, the city. Right?
Yeah. City, yep, like Hollandtown, right there on the county line though, because Dundalk and Turner Station, that's the county actually.
Right. So you live pretty close to the last guy I interviewed then, or lived pretty much same area somewhat, man. Damn. All right. So
Right.
living there, how was it growing up? Like what kind of things did you get into? What went on? How were the schools? How was the area, man? Paint a picture for us. A little picture of the area.
Yeah, I can paint a picture. So pretty much growing up, man, it was so if anybody's ever seen The Wire, man, it was a lot like The Wire. I mean, growing up, you know what I mean, it was, you know, everybody's got row homes, you know what I'm saying? So pretty much you get close with your neighbors and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I ran around in Eastwood and pretty much like I always hung with the older people. So like one of my best friends, Kevin, you know what I'm saying? His older brother, which I just talked to him earlier, matter of fact, but his brother was older by like 5 or 6 years. So like, you know, and he was into that life, you know what I mean? And naturally, like, you know, you see him riding up.
They were just out there putting in work, or were they with a clique, or can you say, or no?
At the time, they weren't affiliated, man.
So they were just putting in work on pretty much on the streets. That's pretty much the lifestyle out there. Or
right. He moved a lot of stuff. He pretty much he was a real dude, man. You know what I'm saying? And people just respected him. So, and that's like the thing about, like, for me, man, and pretty much like where I ran around, there wasn't like a lot of gangs, man. Now there is gangs, but I'm saying like when I was younger growing up, right? For me, you know what I mean? Like the whole carrying guns. I mean, first of all, in Baltimore, bro, carrying a gun is just normal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you hear, you know, gunshots, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But, you know, we growing up, man, we would just do stupid stuff too, man. Like, you know, I don't know, kick on people's doors and run. You know what I'm saying? Just the kid stuff, man. You know, on Fridays. In Eastwood, they used to have a school, bro, and they called it the top field. And we would always go up on the top field and smoke. And for anybody that knows that area, they know it's like that's top field. But nowadays, bro, it's a precinct. See, they used to have precinct 12 on Merritt Boulevard. This is in the county, but they moved it to Eastwood now. So now it's in Eastwood. But like. And I went to Dundalk High School. See, there's a lot of high schools in that area, so that's pretty much like I never graduated.
How are the schools? How are the schools in that area? Or like, can I go to school
they got
and
police
just
in them?
Or like, what's gonna happen to somebody that's just there to learn, man? What, like, can you?
I mean, you know, this is the way I can say it, bro. There was people there that, you know what I mean? Like in my school, bro, they had metal detectors, they had all that, but like. Basically, man, especially that young too, bro. And in that area, you know, the people that are doing the right thing, they kind of get left alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my sister's a year younger than me. You know what I'm saying? And she went to high school with me. And she was good, bro. You know what I'm saying? She went off to college. Me, I never graduated past, I made it to like the 11th grade. And basically, you want me to tell you how that ended?
Yeah, go ahead, tell us, man.
Okay, so I was like I was telling you earlier, I'll do a short story of it, but the short story of it is I was in this relationship with this girl from Patapsco. She went to Patapsco High School. And me and her was in the car that morning. And we was arguing about something. And this was when I had that, I had I was doing I had money, and that's when I had those things I was telling you about, the OCs. So pretty much, real short story of that, I should have graduated in 2006. So back, this was a long time ago. So I was around during the Oxycontin epidemic. So pretty much, man, I took like a whole bunch that morning, and then I smoked. And when I smoked, it pretty much boosted it in. Well, me and her were arguing. I went and chilled with my buddy Jimmy and these two girls, and they were like, "Man, you shouldn't go back to school." They said I was so messed up, bro. But I did anyway. I went back to school, and now people were saying like I was falling asleep, bro, on the damn like vending machines. So mind you, this was like 15 years old, and this is how bad I was on drugs already.
Right, 15, all those C's. And what happened when you went back to school, man?
So now, pretty much, what I'm going to tell you now is mainly from what the cameras and everybody else told me, because this is the first time I experienced. This is the first time I experienced the blackout. So, I went into the classroom, and apparently, because we got cops in our school, and they had a little teacher, and I'll never forget, the little teacher was in there, and the teacher was a female too. And see, I like that teacher because a few years prior, my friend Tracy Hall killed herself, bro. And I say that, I shouldn't have said her last name, but rest in peace to her. But that teacher helped me through that, so I never had nothing against her. Somebody said something that pissed me off, and I broke the desk, and I threw it. When I threw the desk, it hit her. Okay, so that's the God honest truth. What happened, bro? And
I believe it.
I get outside the classroom, and I was tackled by police. And let me tell you this, bro. This is a cool thing about it, I guess. But so they take me to precinct 12, right? Now
first time
on my
That's your first time being arrested, or
first time being arrested? Yeah, I was put on probation for that, man.
Damn.
Yeah, I was put on probation. I had my probation officer. I don't know if I should say. I still remember her name, bro, and I can tell you what she looked like. She had real bleached blonde hair. I had to do.
She might come after you, man.
Yeah, but I've changed my life, and that's I can laugh on it and we can talk about it. You know what I mean? But
what happened?
I've changed my life.
After you caught that first charge, and it's pretty much by chance because it wasn't really even intentional. I mean, you made the wrong choice by going to school loaded up like that. But you definitely weren't trying to throw a desk at a cool teacher you love and respect. So we all know that. But after that,
absolutely,
man,
people can verify that. You know what I'm saying? Because people was there.
You're somewhat of an innocent man, on probation, and they're caught up in the system for the first time. And it's all the way at high school, which for some people, that's a long time. Because, I got locked up my first time at 12 years old, stealing and doing stupid stuff. So after that, did that lead to more crime? Like, since you had already, got a arrest record now, and they'll have had a run-in with the police, and they know your name, how'd that work out for you still living in that city of Baltimore? What happened after? Did you run into any troubles after that, is what I'm asking pretty much. Any crime?
Yeah, man, I got in trouble after that. Yeah, I got, so in 2008, I was driving on, hold on, let me think. It's not 95, it's 65, or it's 695, the one that loops Baltimore.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I was on 695, excuse me, and I got pulled over by an undercover, and I had stuff in the trunk. I had stuff on the ground.
Stuff, drugs,
and I
right?
ate.
That just means drugs.
Yeah, drugs. Huh?
Yeah, drugs. No, I was just explaining for the crowd, for the audience. By stuff, you mean drugs, basically. Not trying
I had well, and one of it, and this is the crazy thing too, man, that I talk about on my channel, man, is how drugs have okay, so when I say I didn't get charged with no H because I actually ate the H, but I did get charged with a whole bunch of weed. But it's crazy because I got charged with a whole bunch of weed, but nowadays, you know what I'm saying, it wouldn't even have been a crime.
What did they do about the weed? I want to hear this. There's two questions here, man. So you ate it when it was bagged up. Did you ever retrieve that?
No. I ate the H, bro. I had a little bit of heroin.
Oh, so you ate it, like ingested it to where
Okay,
you were
well,
feeling it.
yeah. Okay, so the H I ate. You know, they come and scramble comes in capsules.
Right, and you just ate the capsule.
Right. I know it's nasty, yeah, bro, but you know, I seen blue lights behind me, man, and I know. Here's the thing, man. You know, the charges could have been astronomically different, bro, if they would have caught me with those. I honestly don't remember how much it was, but I mean, it was like 3 or 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's a smart move, man. But unless it was enough to kill you, then yeah, that might be an issue.
Nah, it wasn't. Nah, and see, and the crazy thing about it was, man, is what got me was there was a bowl laying on the damn, because you know this case is over with.
Yeah, it's done.
The bowl was laying on the bowl was laying on the passenger seat floor, and I didn't know it was there, bro. And when he asked me for my information, you know how they be watching and stuff. Well, when I reached to the glove department, I seen it, bro. And when I seen it, I was like, nah, man, he don't see it. He said, hey, can you step out of the car for me? And look, I forgot all about this. He charged me with assault, bro. I originally they dropped the assault on the officer, but I got assault on the officer, and this is why. Okay, so, you know, I ate that stuff, okay? I've already had stuff in me like that, so I was already had the H in me.
Right.
All right, so for the people that's heroin, I was already high on heroin. I had weed in the trunk. I had it in a book bag in the back seat. I had a ½ ounce, and mind you, this was 10 years ago, and I can honestly remember this. There was like a ½ ounce or a quarter in the seat. Well, when he had seen that and told me to get out the car, bro, I don't know, man. I told him no. You know what I mean? I was just like, no. Well, when he tried to open the door, I grabbed it and pulled it shut.
Oh,
so
man.
Finally, he pulls the door open. Well, when he pulls the door open, bro, you know how like the corner of the door is sharp. You know what I'm talking about? Right. Well, he puts my chest in the door, like, cause he drags me out the car. So when he dragged me out, my chest hit the pointy part of the door, bro. And just in reaction, I hit him. I just elbowed him. You know what I mean? Like you get hit in your chest real hard.
Yeah, that's all he
bro. But
you know,
this is the thing, man. You know, I never got, you know, because once it goes to court and all that, I never got convicted of the actual assault. You know what I'm saying? And then
let's
say that again, bud.
Let's skip ahead to what did you end up pleading guilty to, and what was the consequences of it, of whatever you pled guilty
to? I honestly can't. This is what I can tell you. I honestly can't remember what, because I know I pled out. You know, you got to understand, this was, I was 20. I don't know, man. I was young. This is, like I said, back in Baltimore. I know the one thing I can mainly remember from that is I did county time, and then I ended up going to a program. And it was like, it was so funny because, you know what, it reminds me of Bill W. But I know his name's not Bill W., but there was this tall white guy, and he had this like little drug court type thing, bro. So I had to go there, but he never drug tested me. It was like the sweetest deal. You know what I'm saying? And I just had to keep going there because, you know, when you're young like that, man, you learn manipulation skills on how to manipulate people that work at places like that.
Yeah, work the program, work the system. Yeah, that's what you do. That's what I grew up. Yeah.
And that's, yeah, because, you know, basically this is what I can say, man. This is something that's important. Like you can go to the most fanciest place or the most poorest places. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you go. It just matters when you're ready to do what you need to do. Until you were ready to change, nobody's going to change. So like back then, I could have changed, you know what I mean? Like I had the opportunity, because all those classes I was going to, I can't tell you one thing about it besides just the people that I'd meet or the girls that I'd hook up with.
Getting ordered to them classes through that court time, you just basically played the classes just to say you got it done, just to get out of that, just so you can hop back out.
So I didn't have to go to so I didn't have to do no more time over it. And you know, and that's just, and see, and you know, we'll have to do another, like some other parts. But in my story, man, that's pretty much how my time progresses. Like, so I went from, you know, being arrested and having, you know, being on probation to actually doing time. Because, and that's what I have to tell the people out there, man. When you consistently get locked up, eventually the courts are going to say enough. No more of these damn probations.
Oh
no
yeah, they don't
more of these pre-trial releases. We're going to send you off.
That's how it happened to me, man. So how did that happen? How did you end up getting back out on the street and then getting your foot caught in the door again and end up finally doing like some a decent amount of time, man? Or where'd you go?
Right.
What happened?
So like I said, you know, that's a lot more down the road. Because, you know, at this time, I'm still in Baltimore. And this was, like I said, this was before my homie, rest in peace, Anthony Benitez. This was before he got killed. When I left Baltimore, I can skip it to where,
So why'd you leave?
2000.
Why'd
Say
you
that
leave?
again, bud?
Why'd you leave Baltimore? What happened to make you leave?
I left Baltimore because really, man, you know, things have gotten so bad for me there. And like, you know, people that I grew up with, like, so I said, I grew up with a lot of older people.
Right.
And a lot of them got bad off too. And, you know, but there was a few that weren't. And like, I could say this, like my homie, you know, his name's Tommy. He lives on Baltimore Street. And this is how I can say, like, true people, man, because this is how long ago that was. But yet him, his wife, and his son, they just came up to my house here in the mountains a couple months ago. But like, you know, it was back to where me and him were like brothers and shit. And I fell off my feet, you know what I'm saying? Because like I told you, I was doing something big with those OCs. And I fell off my feet. Well, he tried to help me get back on my feet, man. And, you know, of course it was like the wrong way. Because, you know, and he's doing good now. But, you know, his thing was money, you know what I'm saying? And I kept trying to hide it. I kept trying to hide me using. So like he was like one of my only friends, bro, that would like drug test me and shit. So basically he drug tested me and I was living with him and he was like me and him almost fist fought, bro. And he was like, I love you, but I'm done, man. I'm done. And his wife's sitting there and she's like, you know, you don't understand. Because he kept saying like, you know, why can't you just stop? And I was like, well, you know, the same reason you like money. It's the same thing I'm chasing with this, you know what I mean, this shit. And so pretty much, you know, that tie was cut. I ran with some shit. And see, for me, bro, the thing that made me who I was, I'd say powerful or whatever, is that I hung with a lot of different people. So like I was from Eastwood, but I hung with people, like I had people in Essex, you know what I'm saying? I had people in O'Donnell Heights. I had people in Armstead Gardens. And there's people that can verify for a short period of time, I ran with it was like a mixed group, bro. And it pretty much started out of Armstead Gardens. It was called Angels of Death, AOD. And I was running with them. AOD, Angels of Death. It was a mixed race gang, bro. And they had we had a pizza joint. It was called Pizza Movers off of Urban Avenue. And let's see what I can say. Man, it was just, you know, it was just good times, man. But you know, in any legit paperwork, there's certain things, man, like you're supposed to be on point. You know what I'm saying? And I was that guy that was no more on point. I was more of a liability than I was anything else. And I was ruining my life, man.
And
and
this is all because
you know,
of
people that love me.
So this
Say
is
that again,
all,
buddy?
to clarify it, this is all because of your drug use in Baltimore to H and opiates pretty much and pills.
It was pretty much strictly the heroin, man. You know, it started out with Oxycontins, and within several years.
And then you led up to doing H. And that's what led up to you getting kicked out of your man's house and pretty much moving out of Baltimore, or?
Yeah, you know, like I said, man, I got a long story. But yeah, the short story of it is I went to rehab. I worked for UPS for 4.5 years. I went to rehab, Phoenix Recovery Center, man. For anybody that, you know, needs a facility, it was awesome, man. Anybody and everybody that worked there was in recovery. It was like a small shithole in the hood, but man, they had awesome recovery, man. Like for real, it was good. And I went there. I got out. I relapsed the same night I got out. I had a 1998 Buick Century, bro, and I'll never forget. I was on Bel Air Road, and I had a person in the front seat of the car with me, and he was nodded out. And I'll never forget. You remember that song by T.I., You Can Have Whatever You Like?
Yeah, we all do.
Okay, that song. Sorry, that song was on the radio, and I remember like jamming to it. You can have whatever, and I boom smashed into a car in front of me. He damn runs because he's got a warrant. Long story short, damn people at UPS now know I'm back in rehab. Okay, and pretty much my supervisor gave me the reason why I went the first time is he basically said you either got to resign or you're gonna go get help. So I only got introduced to it, bro, because I was forced to. And then, you know, after Benitez got killed, man, I was on a rampage, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a childhood friend, man. And, you know, we lose people all the time. You know how it is. But there is some people that, you know, you lose, bro, and that really hits you in the heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you was there, you would, you know what I'm saying? Like, it really messed me up. And I'll never forget, before I went to his, they had an open casket for him. And, you know, this says so much about my addiction, bro, because I feel like it was so disrespectful to me, but I'll never forget it. You know how everybody goes up at the casket and they go down to say your respects?
Yeah.
Well, when I got down to do my respects, bro, I nodded out. And, you know, I really was crying. You know, I'll never forget, bro. I was crying and I was praying. But you know how that drug get, bro. I guess just because I shut my eyes, bro, it just dozed me off for a minute. And somebody had to come up and grab me and walk me away. But yeah, man, so that really messed me up. And they were like, well, look, we think that you should leave Baltimore. So basically everybody, you know, they call it a graduating class. Everybody that I was coming up with went to Daytona, Florida. They all went to halfway houses. Well, I was supposed to leave in a couple of days. I got my dog sitting next to me. And they called and said they had all relapsed. So they were like, all right, we're not going to send you there now. So, you know, and these rehabs, man, they have connections with like halfway houses all around the U.S., man. And that's the one thing that, like, I have a lot of contacts, people still there. You know, like I've got people help in these rehabs, man. Because I've been to so many in different states, and I don't say that proudly, but it's just a part of my story. But and they were like, you know, we think you should leave, and I didn't want to because, you know, I did know that UPS is a very good job, bro. It's like, you know, the fact that I even got that job, you know what I mean, was like
holidays. It's good hours, good job, benefits, yes, sir.
But so I called my supervisor, bro, and me and this supervisor, he was like short, stocky. I'll say his first name's Jim, man, but he was like known to being an asshole. But he really wasn't, man. He was like, and see, I don't want to tell his story, but like he, you know, he looked out for me, bro. I'll just say that, you know, like he wanted me to do well. So I called him, and I'll never forget this, brother. I'll say I can remember this from, and you know, this was like, what, 12 years ago? He said to me, I said, Jim, I don't want to leave. He said, Mike, the way you're going, you're going to die. And he said to me, I'd rather you leave and live than you stay here because you're going to die. He said, think about it. You've been to jail. You've been to rehab twice, all in a short period of time. You know, you totaled your car. He said, if this is a chance for you, you know what I'm saying, to try to live, you know what I mean, do it. And bro,
yeah, I've been told that
4 days later, I made the decision on the day of the 28th day to leave. It snowed. I remember they canceled my flight for like 3 or 4 days, bro. And then, because it was in the wintertime. And then I left off to Wilmington, North Carolina in 2010.
Good old Wilmington. Hey, real quick, I've been told that before when I went to rehab in South Florida, but it was the other way around. I was at the rehab, and the instructor told me when I was smoking a cigarette in the middle of the night on the steps, I wanted to leave, and they wouldn't let me leave till the next day. So he was like, look, man, if you make that decision to leave the next day, you know, we might not hear from you ever again, like blah, blah, blah. he was like, if you do survive somehow, then call us when you are ready to get help, because I'm telling you, you are not fully, ready to be successful. You're not fully helped. You're not fully better. And
Right.
I was trying to justify myself and explain to them that I'm better after only like 4 weeks in rehab. And it was BS. And I was really believing that though, but it was
I
BS. And they
know,
were
yeah.
so I can relate to him telling you to go, and if you stay, you'll die. Well, I was there, and if I left, I pretty much die. And when I did leave, I ended up in prison. So yeah, I just wanted to say that real quick, man. Those are really true words. So now you're up in Wilmington, and I got a lot of family out there, so I know a little bit about Wilmington. It's pretty much a beach town in North Carolina, man. Pretty decent place.
Yeah.
I have heard there's some problems out there though with drugs and things like that. I know you told me, and I know a few people with issues, but it seems like a decent place to live. So how did that go for you? You're out in a rehab now in Wilmington, correct or no?
Yeah, I still got my identification card that says Wilmington on it and everything, bro. But yeah, I lived off of Wrightsville Avenue, and I lived in a halfway house. And
Okay.
the amazing thing about this, brother, is that this halfway house is not only still around today, but it has branched off, and it's just gotten so much better and bigger. Like they used to have like 10 halfway, or they got like 20 men's, they got 20 women's.
You know why
the
it is? They got so much bigger because all these rehabs are expanding because so many people, man. The epidemic has skyrocketed. There's so many people on this shit that insurance is paying left and right. So rehabs is like a lucrative business, man. That's there's a lot
the number one killer, bro, in this country is drugs, bro.
over accidents, everything. That's crazy, man.
Everything. You are correct.
Yeah. Tell us, man. Did it? And I know we're gonna go through in this interview, we're gonna pretty much reach the end of your story, but we can definitely go back and go in depth in future interviews and explain more details of it. But we want to know, man, how did this halfway house work for you? Was it good for you? Like, what happened there, man? Was this one better for you than the rehabs you have been to previously in Baltimore? Or?
Okay, now see, these were in Baltimore, I went to Phoenix Recovery Center. They were two 28-day treatment facilities. Now, halfway houses is something completely different. Halfway houses are for people that have substance abuse and for people that have done some serious time in a penitentiary and that need help adjusting back to life. Because one of my best friends that I met, and actually, I did a video with him. I just haven't uploaded it to mine yet. But I met him in the halfway house, bro. And his experience with this state, with North Carolina, was, how can I say, like, it was different than, because, I just came from Baltimore, right? So I just came from Baltimore, and you know how it is in Baltimore. And then I go into a halfway house, and this dude, he was a part of a white supremacy group when he was in prison. So and this was my first roommate in a halfway house. Okay. But now, me and him are like best friends now, bro. And it's crazy because, I had a great time. Let me say that, I was in and out. I wasn't ready though. If you relapse, because they drug test you quite frequently. When you go, so when I went there, I got a guy named Andy Man picked me up from the airport. Pretty much, it's called the launch pad, okay? And they got men's halfway houses and women's. And I also have the number to that if anybody is interested. But so it's $400 for rent. You got to come there with the first month's worth of rent. Wayne Ray owns a moving company, so that's who I ended up working for. But I made it 6 months in the rooms, bro. And I was going to NA. I had a sponsor. I was working the steps. This is when I was in NA. And but I wasn't serious, bro. The first time I found some dope, I done it. And I was hooked just like that. And I tried to hide it from people, and I did. I went I don't know. I can't remember, man, honestly. I went like maybe a couple weeks or so, and then finally somebody realized it, because these halfway houses, once you've been there for some time, you don't get drug tested every week anymore. You know, they got like different stage houses. So like when I first went there, I had to share a room with somebody, you know, and then as I was there for some time and kept doing the right thing, you see a lot of other people leave, coming and going. But, you know, I was there for a while, so they didn't drug test me. So then when I relapsed, I actually got away with it for a few weeks until, you know, when you're living with people, people know, you know what I'm saying? Especially when, you know, you're in a halfway house and you're 21, 22 years old. And this guy, like, I'll never forget this guy, Tony, man. He was like 50 years old in there, and he was from New York. And, you know, his drug of choice was the same as mine. So, and I'll never forget, because he's the one that told the house manager to drug test me. And, you know, but that's not, I don't look at that like snitching. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, this was years ago. I mean, he did tell on me. But, you know, it's supposed to be a safe environment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even though he did tell on me, and he should have came to me like a man and said, look, man, I know you're using, because this is what I've done to people. This is just my, you know, once I did get serious and I was in, you know, in that situation, I tell people like, look, bro, I'm not going to tell you, but I know that you're using and you need to get right before somebody else notices, you know, but he did tell on me. But see, the thing about it is though, buddy, my life, it probably would have happened anyway. And, you know, I'll say some of my times in Wilmington was worse than ever in Baltimore. And that's because in Baltimore, man, I didn't really end up in, let's just say, real bad trap houses, you know, because I knew people, I had connections, you know what I'm saying? Well, now I'm in a state where I have no family, and I just got kicked out of the damn halfway house for failing a drug test. So the dude I got the dope from was like, bro, I know where you can go. Hold on, I got to get a drink. Sorry. So he was like, you know, I got a place where you can go to. And come to find out, bro, it's like, it's a trap house. And it was where everybody went that failed their drug tests. And without giving too much information, it was on 15th Street in Wilmington. So for anybody that knows, bro, it's a port city. You know, it's a really beautiful place, man. But there is a small hood. It's very small, but it's there. But that trap house, bro, it was awful, man. I can tell you, there were times where the lights were cut off, and the only reason they had cable is because
they were stealing.
I'd go up and take the cable line because, you know, that's one of my, I work for a cable company, and I'd go up there and I would fix it and use the neighbors' people for the TV. So like everybody that stayed there had like some type of hookup or, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, man.
Right.
And, you know, for a long time, and I will speak on this because this is how sick our minds are. In my mind, I was like, well, you know what? I'm great, bro. This is like the Marriott. You know, just because I wasn't out on the streets, you know what I mean? Right. And yeah, it was bad, but as from a mindset of using, bro, because I had my own room, you know, yeah, it was horrible. You couldn't trust nobody, but still in my mind, I was thinking, well, this is great. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I would do for the next year. I bounced in and out between the halfway houses and that house on 15th Street. You know, up until when I got into a relationship with somebody who had 5 years of sobriety, and I kept bouncing in and out of the program, man. And, you know, I ended up going to a 28-day treatment program in Wilmington 3 times.
Damn, man. So how do
bro. So like I'm saying, my story is long, bro. I went to it's called Wilmington Treatment Center. That place was like, I don't know, bro. It was like half the people that was in there was from the United States Army or some type of military. Because, you know, this was right around, you know, this was when the war, you know, because this is like 2000, you figure this 2011, so still it's a while back. But there was a lot of people from the Army in there.
Yeah, people coming back from deployment.
Yeah,
what?
So, and it was huge, bro. This place was nothing like the place in Baltimore. This place was like 5 times that size. That's the first place I was introduced to like Subutex, or that's when I was introduced to the Suboxone, the film strips. Right. That's when it was in Wilmington Treatment Center. In Baltimore, they pretty much detox. It was buprenorphine, but it was in a shot, and it was
Yeah.
do you know what I'm talking about? A lot of people don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, a guy I interviewed, actually. I'm not gonna say the name, but yeah, he actually got that. Yeah,
That's cool. This was from, you know what I'm saying? This was a long time ago. Because that drug, bro, was actually around for a long time, just experimental. You know, buprenorphine is like the main thing that's Subutex or Suboxone.
main active. But not to cut you off, who's this person you said you met that had 5 years clean? Is this a guy or a relationship, like dating?
No. I said the girl had 5 years clean.
That you were dating? Who's this girl though? Is what we want to know.
Her name was Rhea. I mean, her name was Rhea, and this was in Wilmington, North Carolina.
No, was it just your friend, or like were you dating her?
No, she was my girl, bro. She was my girl.
Right,
That's
right.
what I'm saying. She took a risk of getting involved with somebody who was like, you know what I mean, fresh in recovery, because it got to a point in time where when I got out of the trap house on 15th Street, I was doing good. I moved to the next stage house, and like that's where I was speaking to a buddy of mine. That dude, you know what I'm saying? Him and a few other people, man, you know, they was like family. So yeah, I did good for quite some time, man. And you know, and yeah, I started dating a woman and stuff, because that's how I ended up leaving. That's how I left Wilmington was for a woman, but not
that's
her.
Wondering if you met her in the halfway house. That's how you met her?
Well, no, I met her in the rooms, bro. So like basically, okay. Wilmington is like a small place. You know what I'm saying? Wilmington's a small town. So they got the college, like they got that college, right? And right around the college, there's like 20 halfway houses, bro. So like if anybody's in Wilmington, it's called the Launch Pad. There's like 20 halfway houses around that area. Well, there's a whole bunch of meetings. Okay. So I dated women, I dated a lot actually, that lived in the halfway houses for the women's, okay? But this girl, she had her own house in Wilmington. She was doing great, bro.
Okay.
And you know, that's why she stuck through me through 2 relapses. And then eventually she was like, you know, yeah, I do love you. She was like, but you know, I have no hard feelings in my heart for this woman, bro. Cause I was off the hook, bro. I used to be crazy as shit, man. So she was like, yeah, I got to cut you off. I did it. I stuck by your side 2 times. And, you know, everybody told her sponsor, everybody told her after the first time to let me go. Yeah. But she didn't listen. And, you know, but she still stayed clean. And that's what, you know, she did what she had to do. And, you know, now she's still doing great. She's still clean and sober, bro. She never did relapse. Like, so when I met her and blah, 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 she had 5 years clean. She still is clean today.
She was very serious about freaking.
Absolutely.
She was serious. She was one of them.
Yeah, bro. And see, that's the thing, man. You know, now that I'm older and I've matured, bro, and you know, because real recognizes real, yo. When people are really doing the right thing, it shows. So now that, you know, everything's done over, people got kids and people moved on, you know, because most of my, you know, unless the relationship ended badly, man, I'm still friends with people, you know, like the girl Ashley, I said I was dating back in high school. You know, that shit ended bad, but we're friends now. You know, we move on, we get older. So it's like, yeah, man, you know, we're still friends. She's good. She's still, and I honor that, man. She was so serious about it, bro. And she did what she had to do.
Yeah, man, that's what it's all about, man. Is getting off that stuff, staying off, because a lot of people are dying right now, man. It's not good.
I know, and that's why, you know, the thing in my story, bro, like I always say, you know, I'm grateful to be alive today. But the thing about it is, man, no matter how much we love somebody, no matter how much we want somebody to change, no matter how much we want to change, until we are ready, we're not going to. See, for me, bro, I just got to the point where I've had and endured so much pain, and I've done things that I would never thought I'd do. And, you know, one of my last times locked up, I'll never forget this, bro. I had a public defender. And, you know, when they come to see you, you know, pretty much the whole deal is you're trying to get out. That's what everybody's deal is, that you try to get out, you know. I told her I wanted to stay in jail. And she looked at me. I'll never forget this, bro. Never. I still remember the glass, and it was on the corner wall. She said, she was like, what? Like, she never heard that before.
You told her you wanted to
And
stay in jail. For real.
I want to stay in jail, bro. And you know, like we'll have to do this on another video, and another connection that I still have with somebody today is this lady, Miss Chris, that I met out front of a Catholic church, bro. And this was in Charlotte. And that lady is still in my life today, man. Like, it got to the point where shit was so bad. And I literally, you know, exhausted every angle, you know what I'm saying? You know, even though the woman I had a house with, the house got raided. I mean, she was a good woman, bro, and you know, she had to turn her back on me eventually. But yep, we're still friends till this day, man. But you know, it took what it took for me to get ready. You feel me?
Right. So, going through all that in Wilmington, did you ever get clean in Wilmington, or did you still keep using when you left Wilmington? And how'd you end up leaving Wilmington?
All right. Well, okay, so that's a long story. Okay, so I was in rehab in the Wilmington Treatment Center. I met a girl named Amy there. I'm only gonna say her first name because I'm still involved with her. So I met her in there, though. I met her in there. She's 5 years older than me. Okay, so she's 5 years older than me. Beautiful, bro, beautiful. She works at Wells Fargo, and
right.
Anyway, so we're talking blah blah blah. She goes to the house. She lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. She's in Wilmington Treatment Center, but lives in Charlotte. So she goes back to Charlotte, and me and her are still friends. Okay, I didn't move up there just yet. So I'm in Wilmington now. So I'm still living in the trap house, and I remember selling dope on the side. And I sold to this dude, man. And you know, excuse me, you tell a lot of people, remember back in that day, you'll be like, oh man, this is some fire. Well, everybody says that. So I guess when it really is some fire,
right,
they just, you know, they hear it all the time. They're like, oh, whatever. And you know, so I told them that it was, and it really was, it was very strong, I guess is the word. Because I'm not trying to glorify this at all. And I didn't know that he had taken some Xanax, and he had shot it up, and he was the one driving. I was in the passenger seat, and there was this guy in the back seat of the car, and we was in a Checkers parking lot. He OD'd, bro, in the car. Now this is what happened. So we're in the middle of Checkers, and this is in the hood of Wilmington. Me and him we're trying to get him out of the fucking front seat of the car, bro, but his foot is stuck. Mind you, and he's wearing flip-flops, okay? See, we can laugh about it now but he's got flip-flops on. His flip-flop gets stuck. His foot gets stuck, yo. We're trying to drag him out of the car to give him CPR. A lady driving in a van sees us pulling him out the car and thinks that we done killed him or something, and she calls the police. Anyway, long story short of that, I got him breathing very slowly. I gave him CPR, bro. See, now I've been in it for a while. As you know, I'm trying to make my story as short as possible. But so now, you know, I've been in it for a while. I know what to do. And, you know, sometimes you can't save them. But, man, you know,
I gave somebody CPR last year and literally saved her life. Narcan and CPR. I'm not going to say who, somebody very close to me. So, yeah.
And I commend you for that, brother. I commend you for that because, you know, I just made a video on my channel called Hypocrites. And, you know, there's a lot of people that judge people that are like us. You know, there's a difference between a bad person and then a person who made a lot of bad decisions, you know, but has a good heart. And, you know, I did a thing called Hypocrites because there's a lot of people that talk a lot of crap on it, but they don't benefit. They don't try to help in any way. All they do is talk.
They just speak on it, but they don't get involved. Speak on it.
And you know, I don't know about you, man, but like to me, like I saved a lot of people's lives, man, but there's a lot of people that I didn't save. And you know, back then, like, I don't know, man, I didn't feel anything. But now, bro, it's like I want to do good. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that you saved that dude's life, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's awesome, man. I mean, but people don't realize people are dying like this, man.
They are. Somebody died today. I told you that somebody died from a cocaine overdose, man. So that's horrible. And it wasn't somebody I liked, but it was somebody I knew, you know, and it's crazy. And when I saved that person, I was still on parole. I'm still on probation and drug court, but I was on parole too.
You
and
took a risk. So you took a risk.
My parole officer did find out somehow. They found out because I had to give the police my name when they asked for my ID when they showed up finally. And
they always ask.
And he said, "Why didn't you tell me about the police contact you had?" Because they always ask. First thing they ask, "Have you had any police contact past month or so?" And I said no. And he was like, "Well, what happened with this and that?" And I was like, "Oh shit, how does he know that?" But the police told him, I guess. But long story short, when I went to court that month for drug court, the judge was actually nice enough to commend me on that and say, "Congratulations for saving that person's life. Like, thank you for saving that person's life. That is what drug court's about, is saving people's lives, trying to save you guys' life. And you actually saved somebody's life, literally." I thought she was going to violate me for it and say, "Why are you around drugs? Why are you around somebody using?" Even though I wasn't around somebody using, they relapsed behind my back without me knowing, without telling me. They were doing it behind my back. And that's how you know it was somebody close to me. I just can't say who. But yeah, I saved that person's life. I just had a hunch one day and I sped up to their house. Took me about 30 minutes. They must have been out for about 30 minutes because they weren't answering the phone the whole time, man. And I had to, I gave them 2 doses of Narcan in their nose. That did not work at all. And I didn't know how to do CPR. I'm not going to lie. I tried it. I've had people do it on me, but I never done it. So when I was trying it, it wasn't working efficiently. People think you just breathe for them. It's not that simple. So yeah, I had to call 911. The person was so dead, I called 911 for emergency services, not for the police, but for emergency services because I love this person. And this person has a kid that I love as well. So
I've done it before.
Right. So the emergency operator told me, like, push 3 times, count to 5, then give air. Push something like that. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was something similar to that. And once I did it that way for about 2 minutes straight, that person gasped and like sat up and then went back out. But then I finally got that person alive. So long story short, it is very good to know how to do knuckle rubs, how to do the CPR. And you should always have Narcan around if you think anybody's using. Like you should even if you don't, you should have Narcan, man. So I just wanted to say that so our viewers at home like wake up and realize in today's world you should have a box of Narcan, especially you live in Baltimore, you live in you know, certain cities or even suburbs, man. It's good to have it to save people. So I just wanted to say that message, man. You can get back to the story, not to cut you off, but I'm just agreeing with you. And telling
that's what this video is about, bro. That's what this video is about. It's not just, you know, it's not just about, you know, my stuff. It's yours. It's how we can help other people. You know what I'm saying? How we can come together and help other people. And, you know, one thing I did want to say when you said that is, you know, I'll tell you one thing that bothers me, man. But, you know, at the same time, I do it as well. Not so much because of where I live at now, but, you know, in Baltimore and in Charlotte, you know, you can drive down certain streets, right? And you'll see people on the dope nod, like, you know what I mean? Like they're standing up, but they're not. And you know, it's like it's such a part of life, man. You know what I'm saying? That people are just driving by. People are just driving by, but yet there's people that are really dying in their minds, bro. Like they're so lost and they don't know. You know, they're not even gonna ask for help because, you know, the way they look or maybe how, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's sad that some of those people that we're talking about right now are going to die tonight because of this shit, bro. They're going to die. You know what I mean? And this is serious. Like what you just said, bro, that's powerful to me. And even though I'm not in that situation, like it's not only just to help people, like it helps me because I'm telling stuff that I ain't spoke about in a long time, you know? And like I do have done that, like called the ambulance. The short story of that is because it was only a few times, but It was in Charlotte. And I took the concept of the Baltimore Scramble, because that shit don't exist in other places. And I'm not going to get into it besides saying that, but
Right.
people were dying off of it in Charlotte, man. And it was my fault. And, you know, I feel responsible for it, you know, and there's a lot of people that, you know, it got to the point where I wouldn't let them do it no more in this place. But this one dude did it, and I could not bring him back, right? Like, so I kept doing it, and the people, I guess, that was with him kept calling. Well, finally, right, so I'm giving him, and like he would like come back for a second, but then go back out, and he would stop breathing. So like I had that choice where I had to call the ambulance. Like no more people, because nobody I never let nobody die, man. You know what I'm saying? Like people died on it, they weren't around me. But you know, I had something to do with it. But this dude was dying in front of me, man. And no matter what I did, he would not come back. So I had to call the ambulance. And when I did, like, I'll never forget, bro. The lady, it took 2 shots or something. I can't, I like to speak in facts, and get things right. But I'm pretty sure, bro, because this was so long ago, but I'm pretty sure she hit him twice. And I'll never forget this, though, buddy. She was like, you saved this dude's life, because he was about gone. She was like, if you didn't call, he definitely would have died. And,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so just imagine, there would have been a dead dude in this apartment complex. You know what I'm saying? Which really was it was a part of the school. It was a part of a school in Charlotte.